Hi everybody, this is Pratik Kanjilal. I'm here to explain my project and based on global terrorism analysis. This is a type of EDA project. We're going to look out the visualizations and their patterns and different types of terrorist attacks. And we are going to find out some insights about them. And we are going to leave out some correlation heat maps and all those things for the further machine learning approaches and all those things we can say. And we will find out some relationships among the variables in this data set also. So let me quickly share my screen and I'm going to display my project on this screen. So this is my project. This is a global terrorism analysis project and we are going to perform EDA on this. We are going to find out the relationships and visualizations of the terrorist attacks. This is a data set provided by the National Consortium of Study of Terrorism and Responses to Terrorism. We can abbreviate it in the form of START. This dataset has been provided by them, and this dataset covers the attacks between the year 1970 to 2017. We have more than 180,000 attacks. So we are going to look at. So let us first import the libraries. Here we have imported the libraries, the required libraries, and more libraries are to be imported in the process. And now we have mounted our data set, which is stored in the Google Drive. We have mounted this Colab notebook to the Google Drive and we have loaded the data set. This is the Global Terrorism CSV. This is the data CSV. And we have loaded this CSV into the Pandas data frame. And Pandas data frame is a copy of the data that makes within itself. So we can see over here, and this data set is the data set we are going to play around with. We have 1,80,000 rows, as well as said. These are the attacks, and these are the columns. And we have no duplicate values in this data set. That is very good. And here we have some missing values or null values, we can say, and there are a lot of null values. Almost the total number of attacks is the null value of some columns. So we are going to keep these null values because this is how the null values look like. The yellow parts are the total null values and the blue parts are the data which we have. So these null values are some values which are not required or not significant with that type of attack. That's why they are null. So we have some meaning of these null values and we are going to keep these null values. Now, we are going to see here what is null value. This is not a zero. This is the value which is not present in that data set. So these are the columns of our data set. There are a lot of columns. These are some of these. And now we can see the various statistical information of the data set, the mean, standard deviation, variables, etc., variance, and all those things. Now we are going to check some unique values of this data set. And yeah, this data set has a lot of unique values, and that is quite obvious, right? Because some unique values mean something, and that has some significant relation with some of the other variables. So these unique values are to be kept as it is. Now we are coming to data wrangling part. This data wrangling part, we have just categorized our data sets into two types of columns, which are numerical columns and categorical columns. Numerical columns are having all the data as numbers, and categorical columns, these are the columns of categorical data, categorical columns. These columns are having some 2-3 categories of values which are being repeated throughout the data set. That there might be more than two. We are going to find out what are those. Now, these are the manipulations I have done in this data set. And now coming to the visualizations. This is the first visualization. Here we have found out the number of attacks per year, and 2014 stands tall as the topmost year with the maximum number of attacks. And this is another type of pattern we have recognized over here, like the terrorist attacks and their quantities are being increasing gradually day by day. Coming to the next visualization, this is the terrorist activities by region. The first visualization was an univariate visualization because we are using only one column, that is the I year. And here we are grouping by two columns or two variables. That's why we are using referring to this visualization as bivariate visualization or bivariate analysis. Now we are grouping by the region and the year. So we are taking out some regions out of the countries combined together. We can say then we can call them as continents, or you can call them as a cluster of countries, nearby countries. And we are just counting the event IDs, means the number of events what are happening there. We are just getting a count. And then we are sorting them and we are plotting them like a line chart over here. And we can see some insights like this orange part. This is the Western Europe and the Central American regions. That means the western part of the world. They were very active during the phase 1970 to 2000. And after 2000, the parties have changed and the magnitude also, with the highest number of attacks have been occurred in the Middle East and North Africa region, followed by the South Asia, followed by Southeast Asia and some Sub-Saharan African, etc. So the terrorist attacks have been sifted across the year from the western parts to the Middle East and Asian parts, Southeast Asian parts. And this is a good insight which you can find it out over here, followed by the next visualization. I'm coming to here. This is a univariate visualization again, the top 30 countries that have been attacked the most. And the top 30 countries, among them, Iraq comes at the first, followed by Pakistan, Afghanistan, and then India. And Iraq has marginally very high difference. Coming to the next chart, this is the most frequent used weapons by terrorist agencies. And this is again a univariate analysis. We are having a word cloud over here. A word cloud typically refers to the cluster of or the collection of words, with the words popping out as a larger size means means more numbers of occurrences. So we can see that the explosives is the largest size word over here, and that means this is the most favorite weapons and that has been used over the years. This is the most frequent weapon used over the years by the terrorists. Coming to the next visualization, this is a pie chart and this is again a univariate analysis. We are using the types of attacks. We are visualizing the types of attacks done most by the terrorist attacks. And we can see bombing and explosion has almost a 50-50 share with other parties, almost a 50-50, not 50. This is 48.6%. But it's a quite significant share we can see here. This is a quite significant share, followed by assassination and armed assault. But bombing is the most number of attacks that has caused due to by this bombing and explosion. Followed by the next visualization, we are having the deaths, injuries, and loss of properties among the citizens of the countries. This is a multivariate analysis. We are having three variables over here. Yeah, three variables: N kill, N wound, and N property. And we can see over here, these are the groups of people across the countries. And this is the data of their sufferings of these terrorist attacks. And we can see clearly that the civilians have been suffering the most in this terrorist attacks. Coming to the next visualization, this is the top 30 countries facing highest number of deaths and injuries. And Iraq holds a significant share over here. That is the largest share of 26.2%. This is the most attacked country, as we have found out in the previous visualizations. So this is quite obvious that the people of this country would be uh, affected the most compared to Afghanistan, Pakistan, and this is how the sequence goes. Followed by the next visualization. This is the highest number of guns attacks a country has been faced. That means a country has been attacked with guns and armed assaults, not explosives. And this is again a univariate analysis. And we can see over here, Afghanistan is having quite a significant number of guns attack over here. And we can see over here that Iraq is the topper with the value of 18K, followed by Pakistan and followed by Afghanistan, and then comes India and other countries, which are marginally very less. So Iraq is the country which has been attacked most with the armed assaults also. So this is the list we are having over here, and these are the numbers of times these countries have been attacked with guns. Now, followed by the next visualization, and this is a geospatial visualization. We have used Folium marker cluster over here. We have selected the year 2014 because this is a single year visualization. And we have seen, we can see here that these are the areas and number of attacks placed over here. And this is called a cluster over here. This is called a marker cluster over here. As we zoom into these areas, we find different type of further clusters. And again, we zoom in, we can find further clusters. And if we dive into one cluster particularly by zooming in, so we can find over here, like this is the marker and this is the name of the city. This marker is the end point of this visualization. So we can visualize which city has been attacked geospatially through their latitudes and longitudes columns provided in this data set. And we can gain our insights which are required for our practices. The various insights can be gained over here through this visualization. Now we have some correlation heat map, which is we are leaving behind with this project for further machine learning and data science activities. And we can see over here that there are pretty good correlations within some columns, as well as very negative correlations also. So we can find it out which column has how much correlation with the other columns, and depending upon them, we can do a lot of feature engineering required for our machine learning projects. So now coming to the conclusion part, and this is the solution from my side, that we are having some points like the Muslim majority countries have been attacked the most, and the Middle East where and South Asia regions are nowadays being targeted the most compared to the Europe and America, which have been targeted in the earlier days of this data frame. So the securities of these countries' citizens are to be prioritized at the top. So these are the conclusions: that the country with the most number of attacks, Iraq; the city with most number of attacks is Baghdad; the region with most number of attacks is Middle East; year with most number of attacks, 2014; the most active group is Taliban; their favorite type of attack is bombing; and these countries have been highly successful in Iraq, then followed by Pakistan, and then Afghanistan. Thank you. This is my project. This is the total explanation of this Colab notebook. And this project has been done by me, Pratik. My name is Pratik Kanjila. Thank you.